Dr. Catherine Blake stood in front of the massive holographic display that filled the entire wall of the Galactic Relations Center in New Geneva. The blue glow from hundreds of star systems painted her face as she studied the data that had been troubling her for months. Every single species in the known galaxy had established diplomatic relations with Earth except one, the Eternals. Catherine touched the hologram and zoomed in on the distant Andorian spiral, where the Vithani homeworld existed. These ancient beings had been part of the Galactic Council for longer than any other species. Their civilization was so old that most historians believed they had been exploring space before Earth's sun had even formed. Yet in 50 years of human membership in the Council, not one Vithani had ever set foot on Earth. Captain Jake Morrison entered the observation room carrying a steaming cup of coffee and a concerned expression. His military uniform was crisp despite the early hour, and his gray eyes reflected the same puzzlement that had been eating away at Catherine for weeks. Still staring at the same data? Jake asked as he joined her at the display. There has to be something we're missing, Catherine replied, her voice tired from another sleepless night. Look at this pattern. The Vithani visit every other council world regularly. They have embassies on 47 different planets. They attend trade meetings, cultural exchanges, scientific conferences, and peace negotiations everywhere in the galaxy except here. Jake sipped his coffee and studied the diplomatic records. Maybe they just don't like us. That's what I thought at first, but look at their communication records. Catherine manipulated the hologram to show message logs. Every invitation we send gets a response within hours. They're always polite, always respectful. They even send gifts for human holidays and congratulate us on our achievements. But when it comes to actual visits, the answer is always the same polite refusal. Admiral Patricia Stone's voice echoed through the room's communication system. Dr. Blake, Captain Morrison, please report to Conference Room 7 immediately. The walk through the corridors of the diplomatic complex gave Catherine time to think about her obsession with the Vithani mystery. As Earth's lead xenoanthropologist, she had spent her career studying alien cultures and their motivations. She had successfully predicted the behavior patterns of aggressive species like the Korthak Raiders, and had helped establish peaceful relations with the mysterious Void Dwellers. But the Vithani remained completely beyond her understanding. Conference Room 7 was already filled with Earth's top diplomatic and military personnel when they arrived. Admiral Stone stood at the head of the long table, her silver hair reflecting the overhead lights and her expression serious. Ambassador Helen Carter sat to her right, surrounded by data tablets and looking exhausted. Commander Lisa Parker was reviewing security reports while Agent Carol Fisher studied intelligence files. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation, Admiral Stone began without preamble. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council announced plans for the largest diplomatic gathering in recorded history. Representatives from every member species will attend the Unity Summit on Earth in 6 months. Every species except one. Catherine already knew which species the Admiral meant. The Vithani have again declined to visit Earth, Admiral Stone continued. This time, however, their refusal is causing problems with other Council members. Several species are questioning whether Earth is hiding something dangerous. The Crystalline Collective has even suggested that perhaps humans are not ready for full Council membership. Ambassador Carter looked up from her tablets. I've been studying Vithani psychology for 30 years. They are the most reasonable and peaceful species in the galaxy. They never act without careful consideration. Their continued refusal to visit Earth must have a logical explanation. Commander Parker cleared her throat. I've been reviewing our first contact records with the Vithani. Something interesting happened during our initial diplomatic exchanges 50 years ago. She activated a holographic recorder that showed the early communication logs between Earth and the Vithani homeworld. The first messages were extremely positive. The Vithani welcomed humanity to the galactic community with what our translators described as genuine enthusiasm. They praised human achievements in science and culture. Then something changed. The hologram showed a series of data transfers. 2 weeks after first contact, the Vithani requested complete access to Earth's historical records, geological surveys, and planetary database. We granted the request as a gesture of good faith. 3 days after receiving this information, their tone became more formal and distant. Agent Fisher leaned forward. What kind of information did we send them? Everything, Commander Parker replied. Archaeological records dating back millions of years. geological data about mass extinction events, atmospheric composition changes, fossil records, and detailed maps of every continent and ocean. Catherine felt something cold settle in her stomach. They were studying our planet's history. More than that, Commander Parker continued. I found something in the archived communications that was buried in routine diplomatic traffic. 3 days after receiving Earth's historical data, a Vithani researcher named Zeth Kalar sent a message directly to our Xenoarchaeology department. The message was flagged as routine scientific inquiry and filed away. No one ever responded to it. Admiral Stone frowned. What did the message say? Commander Parker brought up the translation on the hologram. Your world carries echoes of something that should not be disturbed. We mean no disrespect to humanity, but there are forces better left undisturbed. The room fell silent. Catherine stared at the message, her mind racing through possibilities. What could the Vithani have seen in Earth's history that would make them afraid to visit? Agent Fisher broke the silence. Forces better left undisturbed. That sounds like they found something in our planetary data that scared them. The Vithani don't get scared, Ambassador Carter said quietly. They're the oldest known species in the galaxy. They've seen civilizations rise and fall. They've witnessed supernovas, black hole formations, and galactic wars. If something on Earth concerns them enough to avoid our planet entirely, it must be significant. Jake set down his empty coffee cup. What if we're looking at this wrong? What if they're not afraid of something on Earth, but afraid of what their presence might do to Earth? Catherine turned to stare at him. What do you mean? Think about it, Jake continued. They visit every other world without problems. But Earth is different somehow. Maybe their refusal isn't about protecting themselves from us, but protecting us from something that might happen if they came here. Admiral Stone stood up. Captain Morrison, I'm assigning you to lead a diplomatic mission to the Vithani homeworld. We need answers. Dr. Blake, you'll accompany him as our xenoanthropology expert. Ambassador Carter will coordinate from Earth. Commander Parker and Agent Fisher will continue investigating what the Vithani might have discovered in our historical records. Catherine felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. She would finally have the chance to meet the mysterious Vithani in person, and perhaps solve the puzzle that had been consuming her thoughts for months. When do we leave? Jake asked. Tomorrow, Admiral Stone replied. The diplomatic transport endeavor is already being prepared. The journey to Vithani Prime will take 3 weeks. I want answers before the Unity Summit begins. As the meeting ended and the participants filed out of the conference room, Catherine remained behind, staring at the holographic message from Zeth Kalar. Something that should not be disturbed. Forces better left undisturbed. What had the ancient Vithani seen in Earth's history that had made them decide to stay away for 50 years? And more importantly, what would happen if humanity insisted on finding out? The diplomatic transport endeavor slipped out of hyperspace 3 weeks later, and Catherine Blake pressed her face against the observation window to get her first look at the Vithani homeworld. What she saw took her breath away. Vithani Prime hung in space like a giant crystal, its surface reflecting the light of twin suns in patterns that seemed to shift and dance. Massive spires reached up from the planet's surface, twisting through the atmosphere in impossible spirals that bent light around them. The cities appeared to be carved from single pieces of translucent stone that glowed with their own inner light. Captain Jake Morrison stood beside her, equally amazed by the sight. I've seen a lot of alien worlds, but nothing like this, he said quietly. Dr. Kevin Ross, the mission's physicist, was frantically taking readings with his instruments. The gravitational patterns around those spires don't make sense, he muttered. It's like they're folding space around themselves. Agent Carol Fisher remained focused on more practical concerns. Remember, we're here to get answers about why they won't visit Earth. Stay focused on the mission. The Endeavour received docking clearance and was guided to a landing platform that seemed to grow out of the crystalline surface as they approached. Catherine watched in fascination as the platform formed itself around their ship, creating a perfect seal with their airlock. The first Vithani they met was waiting for them at the platform entrance. The being stood nearly 8 feet tall, with pale skin that shimmered like starlight and large eyes that held depths Catherine couldn't begin to fathom. When it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that seemed to resonate in their bones. Welcome to our world, representatives of Earth, the Vithani said in perfect English. I am Counselor Veth Miran. We are honored by your visit, though we regret the circumstances that brought you here. Jake stepped forward. Thank you for agreeing to see us, Counselor. We hope to understand why the Vithani people have chosen not to visit our world. Veth Miran's expression became troubled. This is a matter that requires the wisdom of our eldest. Elder Veth Solon has agreed to speak with you, though she rarely grants audiences to younger species. They were escorted through corridors that seemed to pulse with living light. The walls were transparent in some places, revealing vast chambers where Vithani moved through the air without any visible means of support. Catherine realized that the entire city existed in multiple dimensions, with spaces folding in on themselves in ways that hurt to think about. How old is Elder Veth Solon? Catherine asked as they walked. She has existed for 600,000 of your years. Veth Miran replied matter-of-factly. She was among those who first mapped the galactic spiral arms when your sun was still forming from cosmic dust. The audience chamber they entered defied every law of physics Catherine knew. The room seemed to exist in a sphere of curved space where up and down had no meaning. At the center, floating in a column of soft light, was the most ancient being Catherine had ever seen. Elder Veth Solon appeared impossibly fragile, her translucent skin showing veins of silver light beneath the surface. Her eyes were completely white, yet Catherine felt certain the elder could see everything about them with perfect clarity. Young humans, Elder Veth Solon's voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. You have traveled far to ask questions that may bring you answers you do not wish to hear. Jake bowed respectfully. Elder, we are honored by your presence. Our people are troubled by the Vithani reluctance to visit Earth. We hope to understand what concerns you about our world. The elder was silent for a long moment, and Catherine could feel the weight of 600,000 years of memory pressing down on the chamber. Your species believes that time moves in a straight line from past to future, Elder Veth Solon finally said. This is because you have not yet learned to perceive the quantum echoes that all events leave in the fabric of reality. We Vithani developed this ability long ago, when we were forced to evolve beyond physical existence to survive the death of our original homeworld. Dr. Ross leaned forward, fascinated. You can see past events? We can see the impressions they leave, the elder replied. Every significant event creates ripples in space-time. Most worlds carry normal patterns of birth, growth, and natural change. But some worlds, very rare worlds, carry echoes of events so powerful they never fade. Catherine felt her heart rate increase. Earth is one of these worlds? Your world is the strongest echo world we have ever encountered, Elder Veth Solon said, and her voice carried a note of something that might have been fear. The quantum impressions embedded in your planet's structure are so intense, they could be felt from neighboring star systems if one knew how to look. Agent Fisher stepped forward. What kind of events could create such powerful echoes? Extinction events, the elder replied, but not the natural catastrophes your scientists believe. The impressions we detect show deliberate interventions. Something has repeatedly caused mass die-offs on your world for millions of years. The chamber fell silent except for the soft humming of the light column. Catherine tried to process what she was hearing. You're saying something has been deliberately causing extinction events on Earth? Jake asked. Not causing, Elder Veth Solon corrected. Recording. Each extinction event corresponds with a massive quantum data storage operation. Your world has been used as a repository for information, with the dying life form serving as the medium for data inscription. Dr. Ross pulled out his scanner and checked the readings. That's impossible. We would have detected evidence of such technology. Not if the technology operates at quantum levels beyond your current understanding, the elder said. The beings who created this system were far more advanced than your current civilization. They embedded information directly into the quantum structure of matter itself. Catherine's mind raced as she tried to understand the implications. What kind of information? We do not know, Elder Veth Solon admitted. We dare not probe too deeply into your world's quantum echoes. Our scanning attempts during first contact revealed only fragments, but what we saw was troubling. The stored information appears to contain the complete records of multiple extinct civilizations. Why does this concern you? Jake asked. Wouldn't such a repository of knowledge be valuable? The elder's form seemed to pulse with agitation. Because accessing such information has consequences. We have seen what happens to species that attempt to unlock the secrets of echo worlds. They either destroy themselves with knowledge they cannot handle, or they are transformed into something no longer recognizable as their original species. Agent Fisher narrowed her eyes. Are you saying that Earth is dangerous to visit? We are saying that the presence of our people on your world might activate systems that have been dormant for millions of years, Elder Veth Solon explained. Our advanced consciousness and technology could serve as a trigger, awakening whatever intelligence created the repository. Catherine felt a chill run down her spine. You think there's still something alive in Earth's quantum structure? We believe there is something waiting, the Elder replied. Something that has been patient beyond all measure, storing the memories of the galaxy's dead civilizations and waiting for a species advanced enough to serve as its inheritors. The implications hit Catherine like a physical blow. If the Vithani were right, then humanity had been living their entire existence on top of a vast alien database, completely unaware that every step they took was being monitored by systems beyond their comprehension. What happens if we ignore your warnings and insist that you visit Earth? Jake asked. Elder Veth Solon's ancient eyes focused on him with an intensity that made him step back. Then you may discover that your world's refusal to let its secrets remain buried will awaken forces that have been sleeping since before your species learned to make fire. The journey back to Earth felt like the longest 3 weeks of Catherine Blake's life. She spent most of her time in the Endeavor's research lab, going over the recordings of their meeting with Elder Veth Solon and trying to make sense of what they had learned. The idea that Earth was some kind of galactic library disguised as a planet seemed impossible. Yet the Vithani had no reason to lie. Captain Jake Morrison found her there on the morning they dropped out of hyperspace near Earth, surrounded by data tablets and looking like she hadn't slept in days. Still trying to figure it all out? Jake asked, settling into the chair across from her. I keep thinking about what the Elder said, Catherine replied, rubbing her tired eyes. She mentioned that the extinction events weren't natural disasters, but data storage operations. What if everything we think we know about Earth's history is wrong? Dr. Kevin Ross entered the lab carrying a cup of coffee and looking equally exhausted. I've been running calculations based on the quantum signature readings we took at Vithani Prime. If their technology can detect these echo patterns from across the galaxy, then Earth must be broadcasting some kind of signal. Agent Carol Fisher joined them, tablet in hand. I've been thinking about the practical implications. If Earth really is storing the records of dead civilizations, then someone or something put them there. The question is whether that someone is still around. The communication system crackled to life with Admiral Stone's voice. All senior staff report to the briefing room immediately upon docking. An hour later, they were back in the familiar conference room at the Galactic Relations Center, but everything felt different now. Catherine looked around at the faces of her colleagues and wondered how many of them would believe what they had discovered. Admiral Stone wasted no time with pleasantries. What did you learn? Jake stood and activated the holographic recorder. The Vithani believe that Earth is what they call an echo world. According to Elder Veth Solon, our planet has been used as a storage facility for quantum-level information for millions of years. Ambassador Helen Carter leaned forward. What kind of information? The complete records of extinct civilizations, Catherine answered. The Elder suggested that each major extinction event in Earth's history was actually a data upload operation, with dying life forms being used as a medium for information storage. Commander Lisa Parker frowned. That sounds like science fiction. Dr. Ross shook his head. I thought so too, but the quantum readings don't lie. There are energy patterns in Earth's geological layers that shouldn't exist naturally. I've already contacted Dr. Robert Chen at the Quantum Research Institute to begin deeper analysis. Admiral Stone was quiet for a long moment. Do the Vithani believe this storage system is still active? They're not sure, Jake replied, but they're convinced that advanced beings like themselves visiting Earth might trigger something that's been dormant. That's why they won't come here. Agent Fisher pulled up a series of files on her tablet. I've been researching similar patterns in our own records. There are some interesting correlations between major extinction events and unusual geological formations. She projected her findings onto the main display. Look at this data from the Chicxulub crater where the asteroid supposedly hit and killed the dinosaurs. The impact site shows quantum resonance patterns that don't match any known asteroid composition. It's almost like the crater was designed to focus and amplify some kind of energy. Catherine felt her pulse quicken. Show me the data from other extinction sites. Agent Fisher brought up locations around the globe. The Permian extinction sites in Siberia, the Ordovician extinction areas in what's now North America, even some locations associated with early human conflicts. They all show similar quantum signatures. Dr. Amy Foster, Earth's leading marine biologist, had been called in during their absence and was studying the data with growing alarm. This changes everything we thought we knew about evolution on Earth. If these extinction events were artificial, then life on our planet has been manipulated for millions of years. Admiral Stone stood and began pacing. We need to know more before we make any decisions. Dr. Chen's team will analyze the quantum signatures. Dr. Foster will re-examine the fossil records for evidence of artificial intervention. Commander Parker will investigate whether there are any current signs of this storage system's activity. Catherine raised her hand. What about the information itself? If Earth really is storing the records of dead civilizations, shouldn't we try to access it? The room fell silent. Everyone understood the implications of what she was suggesting. Ambassador Carter shook her head. The Vithani warned us that accessing such information has destroyed other species. Maybe some knowledge is too dangerous to pursue. But what if it's knowledge that could save us? Dr. Ross argued. What if these extinct civilizations learned something that could prevent their fate from happening to us? Agent Fisher looked up from her tablet. I hate to interrupt, but we may not have a choice about whether to investigate. I've been monitoring galactic communication channels, and word is spreading about our visit to the Vithani. Several species are asking questions about why Earth's oldest allies won't visit our world. Jake frowned. What kind of questions? The Korthak raiders have submitted a formal inquiry to the Galactic Council, asking whether Earth is hiding weapons technology. Agent Fisher replied. The Silicon Collective wants to know if we're conducting illegal experiments. 3 other species have requested permission to conduct their own investigations of our planet. Admiral Stone stopped pacing. How long before this becomes a crisis? Days, maybe weeks, Agent Fisher answered. If we don't provide answers soon, the Council might authorize other species to investigate Earth directly. And unlike the Vithani, they won't be worried about triggering dormant systems. Dr. Susan Mitchell entered the briefing room carrying an armload of geological survey equipment. Sorry I'm late, but I think I've found something important. I've been analyzing quantum resonance patterns in Earth's crust using modified Vithani detection techniques. She set up a small device that immediately began projecting a 3-dimensional map of Earth. The quantum signatures aren't random. They're organized in a grid pattern that covers the entire planet. It's like the whole world is one giant storage matrix. Catherine stared at the holographic Earth, watching as thousands of connection lines appeared between the various signature sites. It's a network. More than that, Dr. Mitchell continued. The network is active. I'm detecting regular data pulses moving through the quantum connections. Whatever system was put in place millions of years ago is still running. Commander Parker leaned forward. Running and doing what? I don't know yet, Dr. Mitchell admitted. But the activity levels have increased significantly since our return from Vithani Prime. It's almost like our investigation has attracted its attention. The implications of this discovery settled over the room like a heavy weight. Not only was Earth storing the records of dead civilizations, but the system was aware and responding to their efforts to understand it. Jake voiced what everyone was thinking. What if the reason the Vithani won't visit Earth isn't to protect us from ancient technology, but to protect the galaxy from what might happen if that technology decides humanity is ready to inherit what it's been guarding? Catherine looked around the room at her colleagues' worried faces and realized that their simple diplomatic mission had uncovered something that could change the course of human history. The question now was whether they would be ready for whatever came next. Dr. Catherine Blake stood in the underground research facility beneath the Swiss Alps, watching as teams of scientists worked frantically to understand the quantum network that apparently covered their entire planet. 3 days had passed since Dr. Mitchell's discovery that the ancient system was responding to their investigation, and the activity levels continued to increase with each passing hour. Dr. Robert Chen approached her with a grim expression, holding a data tablet that showed readings from around the globe. Catherine, you need to see this. The quantum pulses aren't just random data transfers anymore. They're forming patterns that look almost like communication protocols. Catherine took the tablet and studied the waveform displays. The patterns did look familiar. resembling the basic mathematical sequences that Earth used for first contact with alien civilizations. It's trying to talk to us. Captain Jake Morrison entered the lab carrying urgent dispatches from the Galactic Relations Center. We have bigger problems. The Korthak raiders have positioned a battle fleet at the edge of our solar system. They're demanding immediate access to Earth for what they call a security investigation. Agent Carol Fisher looked up from her monitoring station. 3 more species have filed similar requests with the Galactic Council. They all want to know what Earth is hiding and why the Vithani won't come here. Dr. Amy Foster rushed over from her biological analysis station. I've been re-examining fossil records from the major extinction sites, and I found something disturbing. The dying organisms didn't just disappear randomly. Their cellular structure was systematically altered at the moment of death, creating quantum storage matrices within their biological material. Catherine felt a chill run down her spine. You're saying the extinction events used living creatures as data storage devices? That's exactly what I'm saying, Dr. Foster replied. Every major extinction event in Earth's history shows the same pattern. Millions of organisms died simultaneously, and their bodies were converted into quantum information storage systems. The fossils we've been studying for centuries aren't just preserved remains, they're hardware components. Commander Lisa Parker's voice came over the communication system. Dr. Blake, we're receiving a priority transmission from the edge of the solar system. It's from Elder Veth Solan herself. Catherine hurried to the main communication center where a holographic image of the ancient Vithani leader was materializing. Elder Veth Solan appeared even more ethereal than before, her form flickering as if she was having difficulty maintaining the long-distance connection. Young humans, the elders, voice carried notes of urgency that hadn't been there during their previous meeting. We have detected massive quantum disturbances emanating from your world. The Echo Network has awakened fully for the first time in 65 million years. Jake stepped forward. Elder, we need your help. Other species are threatening to investigate Earth by force. We don't know how to handle what we've discovered. The situation is more dangerous than you realize, Elder Veth Solan replied. Our long-range sensors show that the quantum network is not merely active, it is preparing for something. The patterns we are detecting suggest that the system believes it has found worthy inheritors. Dr. Chen joined the conversation. What do you mean by inheritors? The beings who created the Echo Network were called the architects, the Elder explained. They were an ancient species that foresaw the cyclical nature of galactic civilizations. They knew that knowledge would be lost as species rose and fell, so they created worlds like yours to preserve the accumulated wisdom of each galactic era. Catherine's mind raced as she processed this information. Earth is a backup system for galactic civilization. More than that, Elder Veth Solan continued, it is a test. Each species that discovers the truth about their echo world must prove they are mature enough to handle the responsibility of guardianship. Those who pass the test become the new architects. Those who fail are absorbed into the system themselves. The communication chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Agent Fisher broke the silence. What happened to the original architects? They became one with their creation, the Elder replied sadly. They uploaded their consciousness into the Echo Network and became its caretakers. We believe they still exist within the quantum matrix, guiding the selection of each new generation of guardians. Dr. Mitchell burst into the chamber carrying her monitoring equipment. The quantum activity just spiked dramatically. I'm reading massive energy buildups at every major extinction site around the planet. Elder Veth Solan's image flickered more urgently. The awakening process has begun. Your species now faces the same choice that destroyed so many others. You must decide whether to accept the role of architect or reject it and face the consequences. Jake stepped closer to the hologram. What are the consequences of rejection? The system will determine that humanity is not ready to inherit galactic knowledge, and the Elder explained. It will initiate a new extinction event to clear the way for the next species to evolve on Earth. Your civilization will become part of the stored information, preserved forever but no longer living. Dr. Foster gasped. You're saying that if we refuse to become these architects, the system will kill everyone on Earth? That is the pattern we have observed on other echo worlds, Elder Veth Solan confirmed. Species either evolve into something beyond their original form or they become historical records. Catherine felt the weight of her species' future pressing down on her. What does it mean to become an architect? What would happen to humanity? You would gain access to the accumulated knowledge of millions of extinct civilizations, the elder replied. Your consciousness would expand beyond individual existence. You would become guardians of galactic memory, responsible for guiding younger species toward the same choice you now face. Commander Parker's voice came through the communication system again. Dr. Blake, the Korthak fleet is demanding immediate access to Earth's surface. Admiral Stone wants to know our response. Elder Veth Solan's image began to fade. We cannot help you make this choice. Each species must decide for themselves. But know that whatever you choose will affect not just humanity, but the future of all galactic civilization. The connection ended, leaving the humans alone with the most important decision in their species' history. Dr. Chen looked at the quantum readings on his instruments. The energy buildup is accelerating. Whatever choice we make, we need to make it soon. Catherine looked around at her colleagues and realized that they represented all of humanity in this moment. The choice between evolution and extinction, between individual existence and cosmic responsibility, rested in their hands. Outside the facility, the quantum network pulsed with increasing intensity, and somewhere within Earth's quantum matrix, ancient minds waited patiently for humanity's answer. The test that had been millions of years in preparation was finally reaching its conclusion, and the future of human civilization hung in the balance. Agent Fisher's monitoring equipment began beeping urgently. I'm detecting incoming ships from multiple species. It looks like half the galaxy is heading toward Earth. Catherine closed her eyes and tried to prepare herself for whatever came next. The simple diplomatic mystery that had started with the Vithani's refusal to visit Earth had become a crisis that would determine the fate of every human being alive. Dr. Catherine Blake stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station, watching as dozens of alien ships filled the space around Earth. The Korthak battle fleet hung menacingly near the moon, while crystalline vessels from the Silicon Collective formed geometric patterns above the North Pole. Ships from 17 different species had arrived in the past 6 hours, all demanding answers about Earth's mysterious quantum network. Captain Jake Morrison floated beside her, his face grim as he studied the tactical displays. Admiral Stone says we have maybe 12 hours before someone decides to investigate our planet by force. The only thing keeping them back right now is fear of the unknown. Dr. Kevin Ross drifted over from the science station, his instruments showing readings that defied explanation. The quantum activity is off the charts. Every major extinction site on Earth is generating energy fields that could be seen from the next galaxy. Whatever system the architects built is preparing for something big. Agent Carol Fisher's voice came through the communication system from the surface. We've got a problem. The quantum network isn't just active anymore. It's communicating directly with several world governments. Presidents and prime ministers are reporting that they're receiving information directly into their minds. Catherine felt her heart race. What kind of information? Complete historical records of extinct civilizations, Agent Fisher replied. Technical specifications for technologies that could solve every major problem humanity faces. Medical knowledge that could eliminate disease and extend life indefinitely. But there's a cost. Dr. Amy Foster joined the conversation from her laboratory on Earth. I've been monitoring the biological effects of exposure to the quantum transmissions. The people receiving this information are changing at the cellular level. Their brain structure is evolving rapidly, but they're also losing something fundamental about their humanity. Jake frowned. Losing what? Individual identity, Dr. Foster answered. They're becoming part of a collective consciousness. They can access incredible knowledge, but they're no longer entirely human. Commander Lisa Parker's urgent voice interrupted their discussion. All stations, we have incoming priority transmission from the Vithani fleet. Elder Veth Solan is requesting immediate communication with Dr. Blake. Catherine quickly made her way to the communication center where the familiar ethereal form of the ancient Vithani leader appeared in the hologram projector. But this time, Elder Veth Solan was not alone. Behind her stood dozens of other Vithani, their forms flickering between physical existence and pure energy. Young Catherine, the elder began, the time for choice has arrived. The architect system has determined that humanity has reached the threshold moment. You must speak for your species. Catherine felt the weight of 7 billion lives pressing down on her. Elder, we need more time to understand what this choice really means. Time is what you do not have, Elder Veth Solan replied. The approaching fleets will not wait much longer, and the quantum network will not remain stable indefinitely. You must choose now whether humanity will accept the role of architects or face extinction. Dr. Chen's voice came through from the surface.
Catherine, the quantum transmissions are spreading.
Millions of people worldwide are beginning to receive direct knowledge downloads. The transformation process has started whether we want it or not. Catherine closed her eyes and tried to think clearly, despite the chaos surrounding them. Elder, what exactly happened to your species when you faced this choice? The ancient Vithani's form seemed to grow more translucent. We chose a middle path that had never been attempted before. Instead of fully accepting or rejecting the architect role, we became guardians of the process itself. We retained our individual consciousness, while accepting responsibility for protecting echo worlds and guiding younger species toward their own choice moment. Jake leaned forward. That's why you won't visit Earth, you're protecting the test. We are protecting the integrity of the choice, Elder Veth Solon confirmed. But our solution came at a great cost. We can no longer reproduce or expand our numbers. We exist in a state between life and transcendence, eternal guardians who can never truly live. Dr. Mitchell's excited voice broke through the communication. Catherine, I'm detecting something new in the quantum patterns. The architect system is offering a fourth option that's never appeared before. Elder Veth Solon's eyes widened. The first time Catherine had seen the ancient being show surprise. That is impossible. The architect protocols only allow 3 choices. The readings don't lie, Dr. Mitchell insisted. The system is adapting based on humanity's response. It's offering what looks like a partnership arrangement rather than a simple accept or reject decision. Catherine felt a spark of hope. What kind of partnership? Dr. Mitchell's voice carried excitement and fear in equal measure. The quantum network is proposing that humanity become caretakers of Earth's archives while remaining fully human. We would have access to the stored knowledge but retain our individual consciousness and continue evolving naturally. In exchange, we would help other species who face the same choice by sharing what we learn. Agent Fisher's voice joined the conversation. There's more. The system is offering to reveal itself to the approaching alien fleets and explain Earth's true purpose. It would end the secrecy and make Earth an official archive world under galactic protection. Elder Veth Solon studied the quantum readings that Dr. Mitchell was transmitting. This is unprecedented. The architect system has never offered such flexibility before. Catherine realized that this was humanity's moment to change not just their own fate but the entire galactic system that had been unchanged for millions of years. Why is it offering us this choice when it never offered it to others? Perhaps, Elder Veth Solon said thoughtfully, because humanity is the first species to approach the choice moment with full knowledge of what they face and with the support of previous guardians. You are not facing this test alone. The communication system crackled with Admiral Stone's voice. Dr. Blake, several world leaders are requesting immediate consultation. The quantum transmissions have given them complete technical specifications for faster-than-light travel, unlimited energy production, and technologies that could transform our entire civilization. Catherine made her decision. Elder Veth Solon, we accept the partnership. Humanity will become Earth's caretakers while remaining human. We'll help other species understand their choices and work to reform the architect system so that future civilizations don't face extinction for refusing transcendence. The Elder's form brightened with what might have been relief. Then let us work together to implement this new arrangement. The Vithani will finally visit Earth, not as distant guardians but as partners in a new approach to galactic stewardship. Over the following hours, the quantum network revealed itself to the assembled alien fleets, explaining Earth's role as a galactic archive and humanity's new position as its caretakers. The threatening ships became curious visitors as species after species requested access to the stored knowledge of their own extinct predecessors. Catherine stood again on the observation deck, but now she watched as Vithani ships approached Earth for the first time in 50 years. Elder Veth Solon would finally set foot on the planet she had protected from a distance for so long. The mystery of why the galaxy's oldest species refused to visit Earth had been solved, but in solving it, humanity had discovered something far more important. They had found their place in the cosmic community, as bridges between the ancient wisdom of extinct civilizations and the infinite potential of species yet to come. Dr. Foster's Voice came through the communication system one final time. Catherine, the biological monitoring shows that humans exposed to the quantum network are retaining their essential humanity while gaining enhanced cognitive abilities. We're evolving, but we're still us. Catherine smiled as she watched Earth's first Vithani visitors preparing to land. The future was uncertain, but for the first time since this adventure began, she felt confident that humanity had chosen the right path.